this evening, and we can't wait to hear from you. So karibu sana, I'll give you the go-ahead just to take us through what you have prepared for us today. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today
Good
I'm
evening.
excited to talk about women and alcohol. It's one area where in Kenya we have really ignored it. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get some sense into it. And I am with Brenda is in with me. She's going to help me in a few areas that she experienced herself. So today what I really want to look at, I'm hoping that I'm able to control my slides from where I am. And it's about women. And we're saying women are special. And that's a fact. Women are truly special. And why they are special? Because there are many things that we know, especially in our African setup, that we expect women to do. So scientists who study issues of substance use have discovered that women who use drugs can have issues related either to hormones, to their menstrual cycle, fertility, pregnancy, breastfeeding, and menopause. Looking at most women, we realize women who are that age of drinking or using substances. Thank you, Debbie. Looking at women who are using substances, we know that they're in one of these stages that I'm talking about. Either their hormones are giving them a hard time, they are having issues with their menstrual cycle, others with their fertility, others with pregnancy, others with breastfeeding. And some of us, like us, we are dealing with menopause. So all of us are somewhere as far as issues of substance of our life stages are concerned. So most women actually describe themselves as unique. This is because they sometimes use drugs, either to control their weight, to fight exhaustion, they're so tired, to cope with pain, whether physical or psychological or otherwise, and others to treat their mental health problems that they are going through. Now, women, when we look at them, they start drinking quite early. We are going to go into that. But in the Kenyan setup, I'm aware that I'm having my colleagues from Philippines watching, from Indonesia, but I want to look at Kenyan women. And when we look at Kenyan women, we are talking that they're caregivers. They're caregivers to everyone around them. That means their spouse, their children, their in-laws, their own parents, their own brothers and sisters. So you find that they're giving care to a lot of people around them. They're not dealing with themselves alone. We know also women are the homemakers. Therefore, they have a lot of responsibility. They're the ones who are also giving birth. Some of them are farmers. Some of the women are the breadwinners. Others are the spiritual leaders within the family. Others are actually the support systems. So if this person starts taking alcohol, then you can imagine what is going to happen to this family that this woman is in. We look at when women who are at risk are which women. We are looking at the women who are likely to drink are those ones who are having problems with a loved one. So you're having issues with your spouse or with your partner or with your boyfriend or your significant other, then you will start using alcohol to deal with the issues that you're going through. Others, you find that when women are unmarried or divorced or separated, they tend to use alcohol more, probably to deal with what they are going through. Then we know women whose husbands have an alcohol problem are also more likely to drink themselves because they need to understand what is going on, and therefore they might sit down and drink with the husband so that to maybe help him see maybe what alcohol does or them to understand what alcohol does. Women who have been sexually abused are more likely to drink in excess because they are numbing the pain that they have gone through. We also noted that women start drinking out at a younger age than boys of the same age, unlike before, where it was that the boys were drinking more. So we find women are using different substances than men. But when you use a smaller amount of certain drugs for less time, they become addicted. So we learned that women respond to substances very differently. they may have more drug cravings, or they may be more likely to relapse after treatment. And why are they having more drug, the craving more? Probably because of the hormones, the female hormones that they have. We know that sometimes sex hormone can make a woman more sensitive than men to the effects of some drugs. And also women who use drugs may also experience some more physical effects in their heart and in their blood vessels than men. Also, brain changes in women who use drugs are totally different than those in men. Uh-huh. Are we still on? Thank you. So alcohol and women, did you know that when women are drinking, this is what is happening? If you're drinking as the same amount of alcohol as a man, you realize that women tend to get high faster than men. This is because of simply the blood level concentration. We notice that if a man is weighing in Kenyan time, let's look at Kenyan kgs at 90 kg, and a woman who is 68 kg, if you take the same amount of alcohol, we have noted that the woman will tend to have more blood alcohol concentration than the man. Remember, the man is bigger than the woman, and the woman is way, way smaller in weight and in everything. So we find women tend to therefore get high or get more alcohol in their system than the man. So why are women getting drunker than men? Simply because of their body size, their body composition, the enzymes that they have there, and the hormones that they have. So women will get drunker than men, even though they're taking the same amount of alcohol. We are told also the average man's body mass is about 12% greater than that of an average woman's. And we are told, in general, women tend to have greater percentage of body fat and a smaller percentage of muscle tissue than men. Therefore, women who have less muscle tissue, they also have less body water in which to distribute the consumed alcohol. And that's why they get high faster than the men of the same age. Because of the issue of how we are as women, we find that we have lower levels of alcohol. There's a chemical that is found in our bodies, hydrogenase, which is supposed to metabolize alcohol. In women, it is lower. So even if a man and a woman have the same body size and composition, we will still have a back of about 1/3 higher than the man if they drink the same amount of alcohol. Back is blood alcohol concentration. That is what we are talking about. So women, because of our enzymes, we are having a lot of issues here. So what am I talking about? This is an enzyme that normally is found in the stomach, and what it does, it metabolizes alcohol. So women tend to produce a smaller ADH, hydrogenase, and therefore tend to be more prone to toxic amount of alcohol than the men. So we are finding hormones are really interfering with us. Estrogen tends to slow down the metabolism of alcohol. And we're also noting that when you are getting high as a woman, we find that just before you get your menses, when your estrogen level is high, you tend to have very getting high out of alcohol simply because of the amount of the estrogen that is in your system. And then those women who are on birth control pills, they tend now to metabolize alcohol more slowly throughout their cycle. So are you seeing why women are totally different than men as far as alcohol is concerned? It takes less alcohol consumption for women to become dependent on alcohol. There's something we call telescoping. Telescoping is that women can start drinking alcohol later in life and drinking smaller amount, yet they get into dependence faster than men. And that is what we call telescoping. So women, of course, we find that they will progress faster to addiction than men, even though they are taking little amount of alcohol. So research is telling us when we use alcohol around women now, it's increasing. And we are noticing that, of course, if you look at our Republic of Kenya right now, what is happening, there's a lot of alcohol misuse. And therefore, we're having a lot of health concerns. And women tend to have a higher risk of certain alcohol-related problems if we compare them to men. Why are we saying women are unique? One, because of their biology, how they are made. Then, based on the culturally defined roles for men and women, in our setup, we know that when you're told a man has an alcohol problem, the way you react, and then you're told a woman has an alcohol problem, the way you will react is totally different. Actually, most people ask a woman drinking, a girl drinking. So, but if it's a man, it's like, oh, okay, he's drinking here. What can we do about it? But for women first, because of the culturally defined roles, we tend to take it like it should not be happening at all. And also we are learning that the scientists who study these substance abuse have discovered that women who use drugs, they also have issues related to their hormones, to their menstrual cycles, to their fertility, their pregnancy, breastfeeding, and menopause. All this is affected by their substance use. And because of that, women then tend to start using alcohol to control other issues that they are going through themselves. So also science found that women often use alcohol differently than men, such as using smaller amount of alcohol for less time before they become addicted. The issue of telescoping that I've just mentioned. And women can respond to alcohol differently. For example, they may have more alcohol cravings and they may be more likely to relapse after treatment. The alcohol cravings are coming because of their hormones. Then the sex hormones can also make women more sensitive than men to the effect of some of the alcohol that they are using. We have also learned that women who use alcohol may also experience more physical effects on their hearts and their blood vessels, unlike men. Also, their brain tends to change more and quite different, like the way men are. And women also are likely to go into overdose, and some even die because of the effects of alcohol. The issue of domestic violence, we can't leave it out. And we are learning a lot right now with the COVID and people are at home. There's a lot of gender-based violence going on. And we are learning the more you're experiencing the gender-based violence, the more you increase the use of the substance that you're using, be it alcohol or other substances. Also, the issue of divorce, or if you lose a child to custody, or to the death of a partner, or to a child, this can really trigger you as a woman to start using substances. Or if you start experiencing other mental health disorders. So we are noting that women who use alcohol may be more likely to have what we call panic attacks, anxiety, or depression. So stopping there, I would want to call in Brenda. Brenda, are you with us? Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, I'm here.
What would you want to say about if you're looking for treatment as a woman looking for treatment here in Kenya? What are your thoughts about that?
I think that if you're looking for treatment, you should really do a lot of research and don't fear to make visitations to various facilities and ask the hard questions. For example, is there a program that is specifically for women? If there is pregnancy, is the program, does it have, something specific, as special groups for women? And if it is somebody who is a child, not a child, I guess we're not allowed to take people less than 14 years old, but even at 17 or 18 years old, is there a program? Is the facility able to give them special rooms? And basically, are they sensitive that there is encounter groups and specific programs for those special groups?
Okay, thank you for that. Is it easy to get a women rehabilitation in Kenya right now?
My experience is that it's quite hard. Many people have tried it. I myself have tried it. I've tried to help somebody to set one up, and it didn't work, despite the fact that they actually had done the research. They had talked to the best of the best. They tried to get some very seasoned counselors, female counselors, and they, I mean, they really tried hard up to the menu and everything, but you'll find that they didn't, for one thing, they wouldn't get enough clients coming in. And if you're depending on clients in order to enable the program to run, then that's a problem. So it's not easy, is the answer.
Does that mean we don't have a lot of clients who have, we don't have women who have an alcohol problem in Kenya?
No, in fact, it's really increasing. But the thing is, because of the stigma that is attached to a woman alcoholic, they won't really come out. Women will go to the doctor and say, I am sick. And if it is a doctor who will not, among other things, check for, they might not even ask you, do you drink alcohol? So they will look at the other symptoms. Oh, I think I'm having panic attacks. Oh, I have a pain here and there. But if they do not address, do you drink? How much do you drink? Then they will not even refer you to a rehab. Also, the aspect of sometimes undertaking the screening and the tests, even for somebody who may have a problem, and the guardians have taken them and said this person is drinking too much, or if you don't screen, you'll just assume it's alcohol only, but somebody may be taking more than one thing. Many women take prescription drug alongside alcohol also. Some may be smoking with cannabis.
Thank you so much, Brenda. I want us to see something here which most people who are in the addiction field have seen, but those who are not in addiction field, just look at this and try to see the women, because the women are there. Normally we don't see them, but they're always there. Let's watch this. It's from Nakada. Let's see how it goes. I'm not playing anymore.
The drug and substance abuse situation in Kenya is grave and calls for urgent intervention. The use of such hard drugs like bang, cocaine and heroin, especially among the youth, has reached alarming proportions. Evidently, Nakada Authority, which coordinates other agencies in the fight against drug and substance abuse, has a monumental task on its hands. Victims of drug and substance abuse are reduced to a life of suffering and hopelessness. They need the assistance of all Kenyans of goodwill to overcome the habit, without which they will remain a wasted lot.
We were given drugs first freely. We were not buying. We used to be given brown sugar freely. And I didn't know that I'm going to be an addict, or I'm going to be in addiction that will cause problem in my life. Sikujua kama mimi nitaingia katika uteja na hii. Mwanzo ilikuwa ni bure, tunapawa bure. Bure, shika ikabuta. Lakini ilipotuingia ndani ya damu, ikawa sasa mambo yamegeuka. Mwanzo niliishi nikitumia, alafu ikageuka. Sasa nitumie nipate kuishi. Unaona vile imegeuka mviringo.
It was a fall of my life. Everything that I had, it was gone, because yeah, apart from when I was using heroin, I had to go behind bars for 4 years because of pushing and peddling same heroin in Saudi Arabia. They took everything from me. This include my vehicle, my car, bank account. So and I had my wife and 2 kids there with me, living together, and I lost everything what I had.
Addiction to hard drugs like heroin is now more prevalent than before. In most cases, the drug is injected into the body. A study by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime conducted in 2007 showed that there were 12,201 heroin users in Nairobi and Coast provinces. Injecting drug users are highly exposed to HIV and hepatitis infections through the use of contaminated needles. What's more, the desperation to reach the veins in order to make the drug more effective may lead to injecting even in the most bizarre parts of the body. Drug and substance abuse leads to an increase in crime. The country's prisons are awash with inmates who have been incarcerated as a result of involvement in drugs. Talking to some of them, what emerges is a situation where they need assistance to get back to normal life when they leave jail.
Hauna nguvu kwa mwili mpaka upate hiyo kitu usanifu kidogo kwenye bangi ama sigara ndio usikie mzuri. Wakati hujaivuta unasikia ni kama mwili yako yote imekufa. Manake kama hujaivuta unasikia tu kitu yote uchukue uende ukauze. Unaweza hata kumaliza vitu zote kwa nyumba ndio uvute hiyo kitu. Ningetoka nipate kitu ya kufanya, ningefanya niweze kuachana na haya madawa. Japokuwa hata nikiwa hapa nimeachana nayo na nimerekebisha, nikitoka sitahusiana naye tena.
Drug abuse patterns in the country vary from one region to the other. But of particular note is Coast Province, which has a high incidence of the use of such drugs like heroin and cocaine. By virtue of being a major waterway, the province is also prone to drug trafficking. The supply of narcotic drugs, once targeting the tourism industry, has now been redirected to the local youth, some of whom are deeply hooked into drug abuse. A case in point is the largest ever drug haul in Kenya, which was intercepted by law enforcers at one of the entry points along the Indian Ocean coast. One would hate to imagine the kind of havoc that this would have wreaked on the local population if it went undetected. Excessive consumption of alcohol is yet another major source of concern for the NACADA authority. A survey carried out by the authority in the year 2007 revealed that about 40% of Kenyans aged between 15 and 65 years had used one type of alcoholic beverage or another. Even of grave concern is the consumption of illicit brews, which in many cases has resulted in death or incapacitation for the survivors. Although alcohol, listed or otherwise, is seen as a key feature in the social and cultural life of many communities, addiction to it may lead to dire consequences. The gravity of drug and substance abuse calls for far-reaching solutions to the problem. It is an issue that affects families, communities, and the entire nation.
Maybe I'd want to hear a few thoughts of what you've seen and what is going on through your mind when you see that. And that was done a few years back. So it's not something that has been done recently. So you can only imagine what is happening now. Can I hear a few thoughts from those of you who have seen it for the first time?
I think I can go first, Susan. If there's any other person who probably would want to share, they can raise up their hands. But I think for me, it's just it's usually easy to hear about addictions from people that it's happening. But I think this came close home, and it just reminded me of two of our family members who are struggling with an addiction. So I think for me, it just reminded me of that this is a problem that it's part of us, and it's just not a Kenyan problem, but it's just a personal problem. So there's just that sense of yeah, just the reminder that it's with us, and it's very close than we think.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who wants to share?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Florence, go ahead.
For me, it's very painful to watch because, well, I've been in addiction for 20 years and now I'm in recovery 4 years. So seeing that people are still hurting, it was kind of a trigger because, you know, I've been there and actually what I know about addiction, because I was trained by Nakada also, is that you have only 3 options. Either you recover, or you will end up in an institution, or you will die. There are only 3 options. So I remember there's a time I volunteered in Kombani. There's a place in Kombani which treats recovering heroin addicts. And okay, I just gave myself to go and help those ladies and those gentlemen. And we used to have lots of meetings, and you could see that these people were really, really struggling to stop. And so we were giving them methadone so that they could reduce their dose of heroin gradually, because heroin addiction really has very bad withdrawal side effects. So you could see that they were really struggling. They had been rejected by the community. So there was lots of relapses. Yeah, sometimes you just be told so-and-so has left us, they've died. So yeah, it brings a lot of memories. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Or we go on?
No, we have.
Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is really an eye-opener, and one of the things I realize is that although, you know, like videos like this seem, you know, to focus so much more on the most vulnerable, most maybe people who have really, you know, almost lost everything, are very poor, you know, into these drugs, it is something cutting across because even among, you know, the wealthy people in this country, this is a problem. It's only that it may not, you know, be featured as it is featured among, you know, these homeless people. Because I know a family friend where, you know, the woman has struggled with the alcohol addiction, very well off, and she drinks at home. And until, you know, the husband passed on, and she could still not, you know, stop. She refused to go for any rehab. And even the kids, you know, I found it very, very difficult, you know, to deal with the mother. Yes, she has everything in terms of finance, in terms of whatever, you know, good things, you know. And I even remember during their 25th anniversary of their wedding, the husband bringing her a brand new BMW. But she still came in, you know, in that occasion, she still embarrassed us as the guests who were there, totally drunk and, you know, misbehaving. It is a very, very serious issue. So I just wanted to share that input. It is cutting across, you know, the different classes in the society.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you so
sister.
much for sharing that. And let's go on with our slides so that we are able to hopefully finish by 7. And we are still talking about women. I hope you saw the women in that feature. The women were there, and you could see them hidden. Like when the young men are drinking, all around them, the people who are drinking were all women. I hope you were able to see that. You could see that women were there, but normally we talk about men having an alcohol or a drug problem. And like what sister is saying, it cuts across. Alcohol doesn't care who you are, where you come from, what is your religion, it doesn't care. Once you get into it, it's taking you down with everything. So we're talking when there's too much alcohol consumption, there are risks both to men and women. But we are also talking about women and brain damage, and we're saying women are more prone to this effect than men. Pregnancy only happens to women, and therefore it can even affect your ability to get pregnant. There are people who have been trying to get pregnant, especially the younger generation, but if you take their history, you realize they've been drinking for quite some time. Also, if you're drinking when you're already pregnant, the consequences are just, to the unborn child, they're just out of this world. And when I remember this, I like dancing a lot, and sometimes I go out and I see women who are pregnant taking alcohol. I can't help myself but just go to them and ask them, why are they doing this? And I have found myself even telling the spouse of the partner, could you just Google fetal alcohol syndrome? And you look at it and they say, how come nobody's telling us? We go to the clinic, nobody has told us about it. I told them maybe they didn't think you drink. They couldn't assume you drink because it seems like everybody knows if you're pregnant, you don't drink. And we're told no amount of alcohol is safe when you're pregnant. So some women say, no, my urge, I feel like drinking this kind of a drink. I feel like drinking this kind of a drink. In the recent past, I heard of women who would say they would take changa so that when you're having the baby comes out clean and she won't have anything. The baby will be clean, and they'll tell women to drink. And we're saying all this is going to do serious damage to the kid. And therefore, I bring out the issue of fetal alcohol syndrome. And this affects the way the baby's brain is going to develop. And this is so serious. And the condition depends on how much alcohol the mother has drank throughout pregnancy, especially through the first semester and the second semester, normal trimester, sure, when the brain is really developing. So a lot of women who are drinking will have miscarriage. Others will have stillbirths, that is children who are already dead. Others will have premature birth or small birth weight or what we call FASD. All this is associated when the mother is drinking. So we are talking of substance use during pregnancy can be very risky to the woman's health and that of her children, both in the short and long term. So most other drugs, whether it's heroin or stimulants, are very, very harmful to the baby, the unborn baby. So they always increase the risk of miscarriage. It can also cause a lot of migraines, seizures, high blood pressure to the mother, which ultimately is going to affect her fetus. So the risk of stillbirth, we are told, is 2 to 3 times greater in women who smoke tobacco or marijuana. or even take prescription pain relievers, or others who use illegal drugs during pregnancy. The surveys that we look at, most of them are from the US, suggest that more women are using marijuana during pregnancy, which has serious health problems to the child, and therefore the health professionals are very, very concerned. There has been a rumor that if alcohol is what affects the baby, so therefore you can smoke marijuana and the child will be well. So we look at the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. They suggest that marijuana actually results into smaller babies, especially women who are frequent users of marijuana during the first and second trimester. So the same college recommends that pregnant women or women who want to get pregnant should completely stop using marijuana. Some are saying it's for medical purposes. They are told then you need to stop using and discuss other options with your doctor so that you'll have healthier babies. Now, coming back here, we are learning that there are women who use alcohol because they are drinking because of the stresses they are going through, probably because of the baby mama not really happy with that situation. Probably she thought that she was going to get married or they're going to get into a serious relationship, and this does not happen. So you find that women are drinking more during pregnancy than ever before. So we notice that women now who use these alcohol drugs very regularly, this baby is going to go through something very interesting. This is a condition like we call neonatal abstinence syndrome. It's like the child is going through withdrawal, the way that a grown-up would go through withdrawal if you are taking alcohol and somebody stops that. So we are told NAS can occur with pregnant women use of opioids, that is heroin, alcohol, caffeine, and even some prescription sedatives that people are using. We are told the baby will get serious withdrawal symptoms depending on the drugs that you have been using and how long the mother has been using these drugs and how long her body takes to break down the drug. If the baby was either born full-term or prematurely, this will all affect the baby. It's so unfortunate because sometimes the NAS can develop immediately after the baby is born or within the 14 weeks. And these symptoms are bad, and they can include, you see the blotchy skin color, diarrhea. Imagine a newborn baby diarrheaing, excessive high-pitched crying, fever, increased heart rate, irritability, poor feeding, rapid breathing. So this baby is having so many problems as a newborn baby simply because the mother was using substances when she was pregnant with this baby. So we are told long-term can lead now to even fatal effects, where child start having birth defects, of course, low birth weight, premature birth, small head, and some even suffer from what we call SUD, sudden death syndrome, where a child just dies without really, you don't know what killed that baby. That can happen. So the issue of violence and substance abuse, we are learning 1 in 3 women have experienced physical violence at the hands of an intimate partner. Now, when it comes to alcohol, you realize this can be happening a lot and you're not even, it's not even in the public domain. So it can be anything from slapping, pushing, shoving, severe acts of being beaten, burnt, raped, or choked. We notice that these victims of violence are at a very high risk of chronic health conditions. So these are people who might have obesity, chronic pain, depression, and they will also run into substance abuse simply because of the violence that they are being exposed to by their intimate partner. So that is from NIDA. So what is binge drinking? This is when we say it's a consumption of large amounts of alcohol in a short period of time. For women, we say binge drinking is defined as 4 or more drinks in less than a 2-hour period. So binge drinking is becoming an epidemic right now in bars, college campuses, and it's actually increasing a very serious problem for women. Women are tending to drink more. So what are the greatest risks when these women go into binge drinking? Of course, increased risk of alcohol abuse and alcoholism. They also start developing liver damage, serious nausea, dehydration, very poor decision making. Of course, they're exposed to sexual assault and intimate partner violence, reckless and risky sexual behavior. legal issues such as drinking and driving, very poor financial decisions, alcohol poisoning, and in some extreme cases, they are dying because of alcohol poisoning. So how would you describe a standard drink? I would rather go with this one. We talk of a standard drink containing 10 grams of alcohol. This is equal to 1 glass of 285 ml. In Kenya, most glasses are 250 ml. So we are talking of 258 and 85 mLs. That is for the beer that is full strength. If you're doing the light beer, then you do 2 glasses of light beer. That is one standard drink. And if you are doing the extra light beer, then you can do 5 of them. That is what we call one drink. It also equal to one small 100 ml glass of wine. That is one drink. Most people think one drink is the whole bottle. No, this is how we want to look at it. And we can measure 3 mLs, 30 mLs spirits. That is, or 60 ml of fortified wine. That is what we are calling a standard drink. So when you're told yours is 3 standard drinks, then you can't take more than this. In our community or how we do things, we know we drink until morning comes. Actually, it's COVID that has changed everything. Before that, people were drinking either money, there's no more money, or time for closing is up, that's when we stop drinking. So we are finding that is what we call. Now, challenges that face female addicts are, one is poor intervention, where there's a lot of shame inflicted on one who is already suffering from much shame and guilt. This makes her very defensive and defiant. And I liked what Brenda said. If proper screening is not done, women usually lie about what drugs they are using and how much they are using. And this is the truth because of that shame and guilt. We know most rehabs, especially here in Kenya, and even in the world, are mostly male-oriented. Women have those special needs that Brenda was talking about, and these are rarely addressed. So you find that probably the only thing they're going to find there is the 12 steps programs, and they rarely bring out issues that women are going through. Rarely do they bring issues of trauma, of sexual abuse. All these things are never brought out because it's mostly male-oriented. Then if they have comorbidity, it's not addressed. Even when it is there, you find that the issue of mental illness, screening for treatment of personality disorders is also ignored. We notice that counselors who are doing what we are calling groups discussions, the issues of sexuality are usually avoided. Yet these are the key, and in most women's concerned, this is what they are concerned about. Some of them have experienced a lot of abuse and are drinking as a result of that abuse, and therefore they are not going to talk about any of that in a male-dominated rehab. And that's what Brenda was trying to bring out and telling us that women are really special and they really need to feel safe and to be able to share what is really going on with them. They also have a possibility, if they are in a male-dominated center, to get re-traumatized. It's very possible. And when you start mixing people, both men and female, you find that other things come up there. And therefore, there is a lot of compromise as far as recovery is. When family involvement during treatment is not there, then it means once they leave, they will not have any support. We also notice that dependency causes family to push that addict back into addiction when they go home. Lack of proper discharge plan. Where she will go after, what will she be doing post-rehab? Will she be doing what she was doing before? So if there's no proper discharge plan, if there's no continuum of care, then if there's no support groups which are really female, they're really looking out for females or women, then you find that this client of ours, even after going there, they will relapse. The issues of GBV, they're always there somewhere. They always keep popping up. Most clients that I'm working with who are women, the issue of GBV is like, to them, they even tell you, that is normal. That is like normal for me. So you see, they return to the same situation post-rehab. What will happen? the client is going to relapse. If she were to go to rehab, the issue, if she had children, who will be left with her children? Will she leave them with the husband? Will she leave them with her in-laws or with her own parents? What is going to happen here? So even for that, for a woman to come to a point that I need to go to rehab, even though she's drinking and she has an alcohol problem, you'll see she will still want to hold on to her children. She really wants to know what will happen to her children. So we are told that women who drink, the issue of cancer is real, especially breast cancer and head and neck cancers are very common. We are also being told that women, the issue of brain damage, because they are more exposed to alcohol effects than men. The issue of telescoping, the one I talked about, that they're taking a little alcohol, but they're getting into addiction faster than men who have been drinking longer, yet they have drunk for a shorter period of time. And then the issue of pregnancy. Most people have never known that alcohol can actually affect your ability to get pregnant. It will interfere with your fertility, sorry. In addition, alcohol during pregnancy, we have said, has serious harmful consequences to that child, to the unborn child. And I still keep saying there is no safe amount of alcohol when you're pregnant. And we know the issue of victimization. Women who have alcohol problems have a higher risk of becoming victims of sexual assault or other acts of violence. And I really feel that this, especially for our girls who go to campus. And the last story I had of a client who came to me was she went to campus and they had the freshers bash or whatever they call it nowadays. And this girl, when she went there and it was her first time to go to campus, is where everything went wrong. She was given alcohol because she saw her friends drinking. She thought it was okay to drink. She ended up being raped and sodomized by 5 of her classmates. And to make it worse, she had never experienced sex before. So it was the worst thing that could have happened to anybody. And she could not report this to anybody. She could still see her classmates every day after that. You can imagine she was being re-traumatized. She didn't know how to go about it. So at that point in time, she was becoming very suicidal. She thought she needed to just die. That's what she was. When she was coming to see me, that's what she felt. So you realize, she was telling me, if I didn't drink alcohol, I think I would have been safe. But because I was so high, I didn't know what was going on. Then I was taken advantage of because of highness. So the issue of depression and personal injury, that also can happen a lot. And we are noticing women also can go into depression. They start having sleeping problems, heart failure, poor nutrition, especially for the older women. Unfortunately, the older women are drinking. I'm seeing women my age, 50 and above, who are drinking, who are seriously drinking. And when I talk seriously drinking, these women are drinking to get drunk. They're just not drinking. They're drinking to get drunk. They're drinking for emotional relief because of what they're processing. They're spending large amounts of money on alcohol. Some of them even are driving when they're drunk. Others are having serious legal problems because of alcohol. They start isolating themselves when they are drinking. Now they are no longer drinking with peers. They're actually isolating and drinking alone. They start losing jobs. When they're about to retire is when they are losing job because of their drinking habits. Some of them are experiencing serious weight loss. And of course, they increase their alcohol use. And they're starting to combine now alcohol with other things. So you find that these women are really getting into serious problems. So the issue of cancer will keep coming up. We are talking the effects of alcohol. They may bring other problems, especially if you have a history of alcoholism in your family and you're drinking. Chances of you developing some of those things are there. And some of the problems that we talked about are just the ones that have gone through here, where you can't go to work, you're not able to cook, you can't drive, the urge to drink, needing more alcohol than you previously need, finding that people who care about you are really concerned about your drinking, that's a red flag, having more than 7 drinks per week. Now we're talking per week, not per day. Here in Kenya, I'm aware people do even 10 drinks per week. No, per day, per one day, you can do even 7 drinks per one day. So you're finding yourself itself drinking alone or very early in the morning, then there's a problem over there. So as I end this, we are saying alcoholism is very, very challenging for everyone, both men and women. Fortunately, women are more likely to recover from alcoholism compared to men. So if you have a friend or a loved one who you notice they have a serious problem with alcohol, please contact an addiction professional who understands the unique needs of each person and can refer them to the best facility available. Treatment facilities are able to tackle underlying emotional, mental, and spiritual concerns so that they are able to provide a very overall wellness and healing to our women friends wherever they are. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, for your amazing insights. I was just in the chats, just responding to different comments concerning your presentation. I can see Sister Florence's hand up. Sister Florence, would you like to share something before we continue?
No, it was earlier and I did. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. So Susan, I do appreciate it. It's been very insightful. Was just sharing the group that I'd never had the perspective that women are more prone to alcohol addiction up until this conversation this evening. So it's been very insightful. Probably maybe I can just go and share some of the comments that have been shared with the people in the group. So there are a couple of questions that we'd asked before, and Mary was just sharing how it was uncomfortable to watch the video, but then just from the watching of the video, there was a realization of the effects. It affects all of us, regardless of our respective status. We have Helen who also commented from the video that the reality that is the reality of what is happening, and it affects both men and women. Thank you, Helen, for that. Ruth said that in traditional way of life, women did consume alcohol through certain occasions and limits, but today we don't have such occasions and the limits are off. So she feels that women have the right to choose their lifestyle, yes, but they also take full responsibility for it. Unfortunately, she says that when you're a caregiver, when you have a caregiver role, especially as women, you're likely to find people, unlikely to find people to give you support because they expect the support from you. And we've seen this a number of times in families where when the caregiver, loses a sense of control in that way, it's very hard for them to get care during that time. We also have JB who says that as women in recovery get a lot of stigma, but she says there's hope in recovery, and she raised up a question, and this will be the first question that I'll ask, but I'll ask all the questions and you respond to them. She says, could you also make videos for women who have successfully recovered? That's a question that I would you can answer. Just write it down. You can answer later. So we also have Morticia says that there are men who drink and conceive, which means that the child can also be affected. You've talked about the mom, the women being affected, but I also wondered, as she asked this comment, is there a possibility that when a man is an addict, is there a way that can be passed to the child as well?
Yes.
You can also answer that. Huawei says women are more affected than men. Liz says, Liz also affirms a comment that had been raised earlier to create videos. I think that one you'll answer when I give you the chance to. We have JB also just adding and being kind to us and giving us more insights on the other types of laws that were not mentioned that might cause women to be prone to alcohol abuse. We've talked about, he mentioned pregnancy losses, miscarriage and abortion. And he said that he sees many of those clients abortion
who lose their children. I can't hear you very well now.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a time you've gone off for me. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now very well.
Okay, probably you can answer those two questions. Yeah.
About making videos of women who are in recovery. Yeah, and Brenda is here with me. What do you think about that, Brenda, about making videos of women who are in recovery? Is that a good idea? Would they be willing to do that? Or she has left?
I think that would be an excellent idea. And now I'm still here.
Yeah, what do you think about
And
that?
I think that would be an excellent idea because it would be
It will give people hope and know that actually people do recover, because that would be one way of motivating others who are using alcohol right now, thinking that there is no hope at the end of it. So that's a good idea, and I think we need to come up with that and look for those women who are in recovery who are also talking about it, because those are the best people to work with. So the next question was what? From JB. Yeah, women who lose any kind of loss, whether it's a pregnancy, whether it's job, whether it's their partner, whether it's their own parents, if they lose something, some women tend to go to substances or alcohol to kind of heal the pain that they are processing. And more so losing a child or a pregnancy, especially when for a long time you have not been, you've been looking for a child and you can't get one, then definitely some people go that way. The other question was?
The other question was, I mean, men who conceive, I mean, does it affect the children?
The men who are smoking,
addicts,
or who are drinking?
In addiction, yes.
The men who have the
because you've talked, yeah, because you talked about women, just in case. I mean, if the women are pregnant, then there's a higher chance. So what about men? If the women are, well, they're not addicts, but the men are, is there a way that it can affect the child? Can it make the child
unless
more
you're talking
vulnerable
of the X factor, when you're talking of the genogram, where people we are told that families that have the tree where they have people who have an alcohol problem, and therefore we are told they have the X factor, then therefore they can pass it over to their children, even though the parent, the wife, is completely sober. So that can come into the generation, the way people get cancer or get diabetes or hypertension genetically. So they can also get that. Yeah.
Okay. So there's another question from Ruth. She shared with us a story that she's been looking for a rehab for this particular lady this week, and this lady has an HIF accredited card, but everywhere she called, she was told that rehab is 60,000 shillings per month. So she says that where can such a person get help? She has no job, her husband left her. Who can help such a person get rehabilitation? Is there a place for people who are not able to afford such amounts of money?
Before COVID, yeah, I was working with rehabs where they were really doing pro bono, and they would take people in and help them out. But of late, since COVID, that just went down immediately. And right now, unless I call around and ask whether there's anybody willing to do that, but it's a bit challenging, because even Mathare Hospital, they closed up, and I was trying to tell somebody that, because I'm aware they closed and told the clients to go home, and that is now where it would have really worked well there. So right now, I'm not aware of anywhere where they're taking in people for free.
So I mean, it's interesting what you're saying, Susan, because what you're saying is that that was the only free rehab that you knew of that offered that facility, but
it was
apart
not
from
really
that, there
free.
no. Okay.
You had to use the NHIF. So the NHIF
okay.
for you. Yes.
Because Anastasia had asked a question: are there rehabs that are free, that have free programs? Is there? Can someone find such?
There are two of them. There's the one that was being run by the woman rep for Kiambu. Unfortunately, it's for men only. It was for strictly men. She did it like twice, and it was for men. And I kept pushing for women, and she said she didn't have space for women. And that's it. So there's one in Nyeri also, I hear it's for men. So still again, women are not there. So as we are saying with Brenda, women do have serious issues as far as women are concerned.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'll share a couple of comments and a few questions. So someone, Dio, said that when it comes to challenges, it's worse for women who live in the streets. the sex workers, the women within the sexual and gender minorities. It's a double shame for us to try to seek help because of the stigma and the discrimination we face. We also have Maggie's pointing out that that one doesn't go through addiction alone. So she talks about how it affects the entire family, and it's called a family disease. Probably maybe you can talk about that maybe later. So we also have Maggie also saying that there's a lot of stigma associated with people, especially women who seek help in rehabs. Helen also mentioned that it's helpful to psychoeducate our young children, girls and boys concerning these. Then someone concurs with you, Susan, that most comorbid are never addressed and is a major cause of relapse. So the fact that it's never mentioned and addressed has been a cause of relapse. And JB also added that most women drink to escape emotional pain, that is trauma. And it's something that you've mentioned, probably you can mention more. There's a question that came in that the government had the intention of doing rehabs. Did they ever start? That is from Liz.
For the government, maybe Josephine Akisa, she works for NACADA. She can tell us about that. Josephine, are you on? Josephine Akisa, could you tell us more about the free government rehabs that were supposed to be opened in every county? I don't know whether she has left,
Probably
because she should have been the best person to tell us what they are now with NACADA. Okay. And I'm seeing there's somebody from Indonesia here called Stephen, and he's Steve is had joined us from NACADA, from all the way from Indonesia. I work with him in another program called ICARO. Thank you for joining us, Stephen.
So, will Stephen be able to help us with the question?
No. Stephen is just someone who's in
Indonesia. Okay. I actually saw him, and I mean, it's commendable that he will join us today as well. Thank you, Steve, for joining us. So, so probably maybe we'll answer that along the way if she was to join us back. But there's a question that Maggie mentions. I don't know if Maggie you're here, because she says that she only knows of one rehab purely for women, but she also suggests that we can lobby for more, as women are equally affected. So I don't know which one she was pointing out, but she said that she knows of one.
Yeah, there's one at
Githongori.
Also Teen Challenge Kenya. Hello.
Hello. Teen Challenge.
Yeah, Teen Challenge Kenya. They have a women facility meant for only women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Okay.
So at least there are two now that we are aware of, and we can make them more. So thank you for sharing that with
Challenge
us.
Help that lady who wanted to be helped, because I'm aware sometimes they sponsor people. Teen Challenge.
So that then she can go to the Teen Challenge facility.
Yeah, sometimes
for free.
They sponsor people. I'm aware, but I don't know how they are.
Okay. I think that's a good suggestion that can follow up with that question. So someone says, JB asks for your contact and a list of those rehabs for women. So you've mentioned two. I think we'll just add them as well on the comment section. So we have Jane saying that it was very informative and more. So learning the challenge women go through addiction. So Jane is very grateful for the session. JB always, she says that always asks about pregnancy losses. There are group therapies specifically for that. Ordinary therapy does not work. So she says he says for women who go through pregnancy losses, normal therapy that may not work. They need to probably go for groups specifically for women with who've gone through losses. Would you want to say something about on that, Susan?
What I would say is that I'm aware. Yes, I'm aware of that of a group that has been helping women who have gone through that loss of losing children. I don't want to mention the hospitals that have them, but what he's bringing out is true. Most of them tend to go into alcohol use so as to deal with that loss and that pain. So it is important that as therapists, we need to, when we're doing our contracting with our clients, women who have an alcohol problem, please bring that up in the contracting so that you may be able to know what you're dealing with. Because you might deal with everything else and leave that issue of loss, which will not be sorted, and therefore the client will continue using substances. It just brings out the issue that women are special.
Okay, thanks for that. So I've just gotten a comment from Josephine. She says that she's grateful for the insightful presentation. For further queries and referrals, she's asked that people call the NACADA toll-free helpline, 1192 for free. I mean, for any queries and referrals for people. So there's a number that has been given on the chat for NACADA. So anyone with more inquiries, I think she wanted them to go that direction. So JB also adds, has given so much information, says that even for gender-based violence, there is a group therapy. Liz is appreciative of the awesome presentation. So then for anyone who wants the notes, please send your details, your email address, and you'll be sent. Helen will send that to you as well at 100 shillings. Then there's a question from Frank: a specific reason why women in addiction have problems getting pregnant. Would you know an answer to that?
Probably because they interfere with their hormonal balances. That is one thing it does. They actually lose their menses. Women who become alcoholics don't experience menses at all. So chances of them getting pregnant are almost zero, because then they are not ovulating. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's interesting to know. There's someone who's also asked, is it possible for someone to stop drinking on her own without going to a rehab? How will that look like if someone was to do that on their own?
The people who stop, maybe they become spiritual, or something just happens to them and they stop. I know people who actually were able to stop. But when you've gone all the way, then you will need support, and you will need people to guide you on how to come out of it, because it's a disease, and very few people are able to stop on their own. But I'm aware there are people who stop on their own, but they are very few.
So what I hear you say is that it's challenging, but it's possible.
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. So Anastasia says that she has many women who are suffering in alcoholics in Kayole. Anyone willing to support them in an affordable rehab, please? They are more than willing to, and the worst thing is that they are less than 25 years. And I think in this case, you've said at this point in time, you may not be aware of any that is offering free rehab at this point in time, unless now Teen Challenge. Or did you have any other option?
No, I'm not aware of any now, right now.
Okay. So Anastasia, I mean, there's a Teen Challenge came in, so probably maybe you can consider that. JB says yes, he stopped without rehab, so he just confirms that it's possible that people can. There are people who can be able to stop without a rehab. But he also says that it wasn't on his own; it was spiritual. It was God's power, not his own. So that was a great clarification. Jen says that it was refreshing information. They're looking forward to another. So there are many comments that are coming in. Someone says that kindly do share codependency and enabling. Would you like to share that on this particular forum?
No, that's a whole topic by itself, the issue of codependency. It's quite a lot about how people make others continue using or enable them to continue maintaining their status of drinking. So it's a very interesting topic. Yeah?
Okay.
Maybe we can look at it in the near future.
Later. Okay. So there are a couple other comments. I think that there are comments mostly about people asking about rehab. And I think in case people want to find more information about rehab, where can they go to?
That number that were given for NACADA, that's the best place. Because they have their credit for all the rehabs, yes.
Okay, so for Ruth, who you're asking for, whether they are non-residential rehabs, I think all this information about rehabs, NACADA is able to answer answer that. Questions about codependence, I think you've mentioned that you're going to answer
The whole
later.
topic by itself, yes.
Yeah. So there are people who've also offered places where people can be offered for free. Brenda has given Manisha House in Nara.
It's Maisha House in Gara. It's a drop-in center that helps addicts, but they focus on people who are using heroin, specifically heroin. They give methadone. So I'm not sure whether they are really supporting people who have an alcohol problem, but I'm aware they help people who have heroin problem. It's called Maisha House in Gara. It's a center.
Okay. So I think those are the major comments. I think I've raised a number of things that have been shared. I don't know if you have any last comments before we end our
It's
session.
Just thanking everyone for the great participation, and probably I thank that we were able to keep time. So thank you for all your comments and your questions. And let's look out for the women who have an alcohol and drug problem and support them the best way we can. So good evening, everyone.
Okay, so thank you so much for checking in. Sister Florence, I've just seen your question. I think we can we'll answer it in our next session. So asanteni sana for being with us this evening. Have a great evening ahead. Anyone who needs notes, you can send in your email address, and Helen will send them to you at 100 shillings.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Susan, for the session we have been able to have. It was a good one, very informative. We had a bit of a hitch going on to the Facebook Live, but eventually we were able to do so. Somebody there has requested for us to do a session on family, and I know Susan Gitau is preparing that for next week on Friday. Susan, right?
Yeah, right.
Yes, so Friday we have a session on family and addiction or alcoholism, somewhere around there. So we will be updating you. And then tomorrow we have a session on pastoral and spiritual therapy by Elizabeth Kimondo. Same time, 6 p.m. I'll see you then. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
Okay, Helen, please post your number, the one that people can get you.
Yes, so for anybody who wants the presentation note, send 100 shillings via M-Pesa to the number I'm going to put there. It is 0111 630 194. This new Safaricom number. So I'm going to put the chat section, then you can be able to send it to it, send it to me. Thank you very much.
Please, can you repeat that number?
I am putting it in the chat section right away.
Oh.
Yes.
I've done it for you, Helen.
Thank you.
It is the same number. Yes, it is.
I was looking for the message to see where it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much, and Liz, thank you for your kind comments. It's been really great to be a moderator this evening. So thank you for listening in.